So the scheme was an extension of the existing access to early superannuation scheme, which has been around for a number of years, which allowed for people to access superannuation early on specified grounds like mortgage hardship or modifications to homes due to illness or palliative care reasons. They extended the scheme to allow people to dip into it if they'd lost jobs or hours due to the pandemic, and where they could access up to $10,000 in superannuation tax-free through the MyGov ATO scheme.
Now, Alexandra, what are some of the stories of clients who've come to you for help?
Unfortunately, we've heard many anecdotal issues of women being cajoled, threatened, really deeply encouraged by family members or intimate partners to access their superannuation, not for their own benefit, but to the benefit of that third party. So a person whose partner wanted to invest in cryptocurrency, for example, had his self-employed partner access the superannuation for his benefit rather than her own.
And were there any safeguards in place to ensure that the women were taking out their super of their own free will?
Well, so the process was very fast, and so there was this balance between the wanting to act quickly because of the high volumes of people wanting to access it, and so there were minimal safeguards. It was more that it was the onus on the consumer to prove that they were eligible for the scheme, and there was no real protection to ensure that the money was going to their actual benefit, which was unfortunate. In the speed in which it was drawn through.
So is there anything that women who were found themselves in this situation, is there anything that they can do now to get that money back?
Unfortunately, there is no scheme that would enable them to report it and recover the funds. They would have to go against their partners on their own accord. They could report it to the ATO or talk to the trustee about what's happened, but there's no current mechanism that would recompensate them through any government scheme, which would be ideal if the government could enable for that to happen.
And the early release scheme was a one-off event, Alexandra, but how can lessons be learned from what happened and apply to other financial abuse scenarios? Potentially.
I think this is a really good opportunity to listen to the women impacted who are coming forward and telling their stories to the trustees and to the government, and also to engage with consumer advocates to really understand how these examples occurred, and then to consider what improvements could be made in the future to introduce points of friction that may deter or stop the conduct or enable access to superannuation to be done safely.